Are you interested in some spicy new deck tech? Well, here's your host, Capital G!
Peoples of the world, Capital G back at it. This time bringing you Mazzy, Truesword Paladin. Commander Legends 2, Battle for Baldur's Gate comes out officially today. Yes, there's a lot of people that have already busted packs, what have you. I haven't busted anything from the set yet, but I'm going to go scoop some up here in a little bit. But before I do that, well, I want to talk about the Discord group, Dungeons and Cardboard. It's free to join, free to play. It's our LGS away from our LGS. You'll see me and lots of cool peeps hanging around there, so be sure to come join in. Also, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel. And as far as any packs that I pick up today, I think I'm going to jump on that TikTok trend of pack busting on TikTok. So be sure to check that out. I'm not quite sure when we'll post it, but I'll have the link to my TikTok profile in the description below. Be sure to come join us there and watch me bust some packs. So with that in mind, Mazzy, Truesword Paladin. Let us talk about this deck. We are in Naya colors or Cavalry colors, depending on which generation of Magic player you are. That is white, green, and red. As well as a generic mana for this Halfling Knight. It's a 3/4. And whenever an enchanted creature attacks one of your opponents, it gets +2/+0 and trample until end of turn. Pretty sweet. So that doesn't matter if it's your creatures that are enchanted and attacking, or if or if your opponents have an enchanted creature that wants to swing out. Whatever an aura you control is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, exile it. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast the card. So, it encourages you to play auras. It can be on your creatures or your opponent's creatures if you want to play the political game. And on top of that, say the enchanted creature dies, the aura goes to the graveyard, we have a chance to exile it and then recast that aura. Nice. But before we talk about the auras in the deck, let us start with our artifacts. We're going to run, of course, the Arcane Signet, getting the reprint here in this set. The Bow of Nylea. No, it's not a Baldur's Gate card, but for green 1, we get a legendary artifact enchantment. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Now remember, trample plus Death Touch equals lols. If you swing with an 8/6 creature and they block with a 4/4, you only have to deal 1 damage to that 4/4 and the other 7 trample through. That's the interaction between the two mechanics. That's why you don't see cards printed with both of these keywords in one shot. You have to... It's usually one or the other, never both. Also, of course, the activated ability is pretty sweet. Adding 1/1 counters, shooting down small flyers or gaining some life, or even putting cards back from your graveyard into your library. It's got a lot of utility in addition to, well, just the static is what we're playing it for. Reprints of the Diamond Cycle, so Fire Diamond, Marble Diamond, and Moss Diamond will be here. Navigation Orb, being able to go get some basic lands or gate cards for us. The Patriarch's Seal, it taps for a mana of any color and 1 untapped target legendary creature you control. Like I said, it's a great mana rock. It's a great utility for us. Sol Ring rounds it out for us on the artifact side of things. We want creatures to enchant, so let's start with the Battle Angels of Tyr. They brought back the Myriad mechanic, which means that if you attack a player, you get a token for each of your other opponents attacking that opponent. And whenever this deals combat damage to a player, draw a card if that player has more cards in hand than each other player. So if you're attacking the player with the most cards in hand, you draw a card. You create a treasure token if that player controls more lands than each other player. So whoever has the most lands, boop, we get a treasure. Then we gain 3 life if that player has more life than each other player. So whoever's got the highest life total, we get a buff too. Now, the one downside to that is if that player happens to be us, we don't get these triggers. Unfortunately. But it's still a very efficient flyer at 4 mana. The Blessed Hippogriff. 4 mana for this 2/3. It's got Tyr's Blessing as an adventure. Tyr's Blessing is 1 white instant that lets us give target creature indestructible. And the fact that if we do cast it as a creature at some point, it attacks, it gives another creature without flying well, the flying ability. Commander Lyra Porter. For 5 mana, we got a 5/3 human soldier. When we attack, spells we cast from exile this turn cost X less to cast. Exile the top X cards of our library, X being force being equal to the number of opponents we attacked. Until end turn, we can cast the spells from among the exiled cards, but we cannot play lands. Keep that in mind. She does not let us play lands off the top if we exile lands, but that's alright. Free spells, I'll take it. Duke Older Ravenguard. 6 mana for this 5/5 human noble soldier. At the beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature you control gains haste and myriad. That's amazing. This, like, as a commander, this is a commander I would actually be afraid of, to be honest with you. Floomp! Going back to Forgotten Realms to bring this gem back. A 0/4 defender and flying. Someone's going to take a swing at us at some point. So if they do, we get to draw cards for it. Gaji, Honored One. Our commander already gives us a buff when we attack our opponents, and it also gives our opponents enchanted creatures a buff when they attack our opponents. So why not run Gaji and give all creatures a buff when they attack our opponents? Giant Ankheg. It's a big mana value in this one. 8 for an 8/8 trample with ward 2. Other creatures you control have trample and ward 2. It's just big. It's just dumb. I like it. Gisela, speaking of big and dumb, it's not really that dumb. We all know this one, a classic card in our format, 5/5 flying, first strike, and if the source would deal damage to an opponent, or permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage instead. If the source would deal damage to us, or a permanent we control, prevent half of that damage. She may as well be a praetor, it is amazing. Lunch the Bestower. 3 mana for this 0/5 jellyfish with flying. Why does this fly? Anyways, at the beginning of your end step, choose a player. They get 2/1/1 counters on a creature they control. Choose another player to draw a card. Choose a third player to create 2 treasure tokens. Play the politics game. Somebody, if you're playing with a full pod, somebody's going to be left out. Null Warband. Costs 1 less to cast for each opponent who is dealt damage this turn. And it's a 5/5 with Menace and Myriad. Hammers of Morridan. I like these guys. 3 mana for this 3/3 Dwarf Cleric with Myriad, and whenever it attacks, for each opponent, tap up to 1 target creature that player controls. So we can shut down our opponent's best blockers just by swinging out. I like that. Heliod's Pilgrim lets us go get any aura card from our library, put it into our hand. The Insufferable Balladeer. I love the name of this card. And I like the Vicious Mockery ability too. When this enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls cannot block this turn. Goat it. Running Jetmir. I don't expect us to have 9 creatures in play since we're not really doing the gold wide thing. But we'll have 3 creatures. So +1/0 in Vigilance in a deck that wants to attack is already amazing. If we get to 6 creatures, which is also quite reasonable, an additional +1/0 and Trample. So yeah, Jetmir is a nice fit here. Karlach, Fury of Avernus. 5 mana for this 5/4 Tiefling Barbarian. Whenever we attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap all attacking creatures. They gain first strike, and after this phase, there's an additional combat step. Or combat phase, in fact, but yes. Marisi. Again, we're playing a combat heavy deck here. So for 4 mana, 5/4, good rate. Our opponents cannot cast spells during combat. And whenever a creature we control deals combat damage to a player, goad each creature that player controls. So not only are we, swinging it at our enemies, but they cannot crack back at us. Pretty sweet. We've got quite a few multicolored creatures, as you may have noticed. So Rien, Angel of Rebirth. 5 mana for this 5/4 Angel. Other multicolored creatures we control get +1/+0. And whenever another multicolored creature we control dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Rocco, coming from New Capenna. White, green, red, and X enters the battlefield. If we cast it, we can search our library for a creature card with mana value X or less and put it right onto the battlefield. Yes, please. The Taunting Kobold. 1 red for a 0/1 with haste, but whenever it attacks, goad target creature an opponent controls. You have to throw some equipment if you want to do some damage, but it's not here to do damage, it's here to irritate our opponent's blockers. The Topiary Stomper, green 1 for this 4/4 Vigilant Plant Dinosaur. When it enters the battlefield, we get to search our library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield. It cannot attack or block unless we have 7 or more lands, which we'll get there. Umbra Mystic. Auras attached to permanents you control have totem armor. Now, I wasn't playing Magic at the time of this set, so I didn't really know about this card until I was researching this particular deck. This is amazing. So totem armor. The reminder text here is handy. If an enchanted permanent you control would be destroyed, instead remove all damage and destroy an aura attached to it. Like I said, that is absolutely amazing. Wilson! Somebody, like, put a picture of a volleyball here, please. Anyways, green and 1 for this 2/2 Bear Warrior. The spell cannot be countered. It has Vigilance, Reach, Trample, and Ward 2. That is a lot for 2 mana. Wind Shaper Plaintar, 5 mana for this 4/4. Has Flash, has Flying, and when it enters the battlefield during the Declare Attacker step. For each attacking creature, you can reselect which player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. Nice. Someone decides, I'm going to swing out at you. Flash this in. You're swinging at Billy. That's how that works. Over to our enchantment. Of course, 17 of them in total, starting with all that glitters. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact or enchantment you control. Perhaps one of the most powerful auras this type of deck would ask for. In spite of having the Umbra Mystic, I did run a lot of the Umbras in the deck. So we've got Boar Umbra, which is for 3 mana. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3 and totem armor. The Curse of Chaos. Let's curse our opponent, shall we, and encourage combat between them. Of course, we're going to attack them too and get the benefits. So in this case, we get to enchant a player, and whenever a player attacks enchanted player with 1 or more creatures, the attacking player may discard a card to draw a card. Curse of Hospitality. Creatures attacking enchanted player have Trample, and whenever a creature deals combat damage to the enchanted player, that player exiles the top card of their library. Until the end of turn, that creature's controller may play that card. So whoever attacks the person we enchant with Curse of Hospitality gets a little bit of impulse draw. And it's one of Dominic Mayer's better sort of clip art things. I like the art on this one. Really clever. The Curse of Opulence. That reward people who attack the cursed player with treasure. Actually, not even treasure. It's gold tokens, so they don't function quite the same. Gold tokens can be sacrificed for mana without being tapped. But they also don't feature a lot of all the interactions that treasure has been getting as of late. Curse of the Nightly Hunt. Enchanted player attacks with all their creatures if able. Philadar Umbra. This goes on creatures, of course. For 2 mana, enchanted creature has lifelink, and we can pay a white and 1 and attach Philadar Umbra to a creature we control. So if somebody targets one of our important creatures with removal, we can move this over, regardless of whatever it's already enchanting. Griff's Boon. For 1 white mana, enchanted creature gets +1/0 and flying, which is pretty sweet. And for 4 mana, we can return this from our graveyard to the battlefield attached to a creature. We can only do this at sorcery speed, but that's still good. Hyena Umbra. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, first strike, and totem armor. Indrik Umbra. First, it's researching this deck. It's the first time I've seen this card. At 6 mana, it is expensive for an aura. Enchanted creature gets +4/+4, has first strike, and all creatures able to block it do so. Kenrith's Transformation. I think this is a funny one. Because in theory, we could throw this to one of our opponent's creatures, turn it into a 3/3. We draw the card for, casting Kenrith's Transformation. But our opponent can still attack Billy and get the buff from our commander. Martial Impetus. White and 2. The Impetus cycle, of course, is designed to be enchanting our opponent's creatures. So that's what we're going to do here. We can still put it on ours and still get great effect out of it. So white and 2 for this one. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and is goaded, which means it must attack if able. It must attack a player other than us if able. And whenever enchanted creature attacks, each other creature that's attacking one of your opponents gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Pretty sweet. Predatory Impetus. For 5 mana, enchanted creature gets +3/+3, must be blocked if able, and is goaded. Rancor. For 1 green, enchanted creature gets +2/0 and trample. It's just nice to have a super efficient aura. Shiny Impetus. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. And whenever the enchanted creature attacks you, the controller of the aura, create a treasure token. So you could put this on Billy's creature, he swings out, we get the treasure. Skyblade's Boon. 2 mana, enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and flying. Return this to its owner's hand. For 3 mana, activate it only if it's on the battlefield or in your graveyard. So just being able to, throw this on our opponent's creatures, and if they decide to swing at us instead of our opponents, we just take it right back. Snake Umbra. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and whenever it deals damage to an opponent, we may draw a card. It's the creature that gates the ability, it's not from the aura itself. So if we throw this onto an opponent's creature, for example, they draw the card, so we want to be enchanting our creatures with this. Instants. I'll start off with Broken Wings, which got the reprint in New Capenna. Destroy an artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. No, not as versatile as Beast Within, but it has done a lot of work for me in decks that I've put it in so far. Shooting down things like Consecrated Sphinx or Omniscience. Like, what it does hit is still a large enough field that it's worth running. Contraband Livestock. Here's a new piece of removal for us, white and 1. Instant, exile target creature. Then we get to roll d20. On a 1 to 9, it's a 4/4. They get a 4/4 token. On a 10 to 19, they get a 2/2 token. And on a 20, they get a goat. Guardian Naga, even though it's a creature, it's showing up in my instance section. We're running it for Banishing Coils, which is exile target artifact or enchantment. That is its speed for 3 mana. Nothing wrong with that. It's also a 5/6 for 7 mana with Vigilance, as long as we need it to cast as a creature. Lightning Bolt, again, getting the reprint. It is definitely an effective commander card. Poison the Blade. Target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn, and we draw a card. Pretty nasty stuff, especially when our opponents are attacking each other with enchanted creatures, and they gain trample. Then we poison the Blade. Mwahaha. Return of the Wild Speaker. We don't have a lot of humans, if any at all, so let's draw a bunch of cards or give our team a big buff. Return to Nature. Pop an artifact, pop an enchantment, or exile a card from a graveyard. Wild Magic Surge I want to give a try. I like the instant speed here. Red for this instant. Destroy target permanent that an opponent controls. Its controller reveals cards from the top of their library till they hit a permanent card that shares a card type with it. They put that card onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of the library, and the rest go into the bottom of their library randomly. So this hits everything: planeswalkers, lands. Like I said, literally hits everything. Yes, we don't know what we're giving our opponent in exchange for this, but if someone's swinging at us with, 9/9 whatever, pop it. Or if somebody's got a if somebody's got an unblockable ninja coming at us, pop, done. Your temple is under attack is our last instant. White and 2. We can choose to either pray for protection, giving our team indestructible until end of turn, or we can strike a deal, letting us and one of our opponents draw 2 cards. So lands, we are running a few gates here. Running the Basilisk Gate to give a creature a buff. We can only activate it as a sorcery, unfortunately, so we can't buff our opponent's attacking creatures with it. But we can buff ours. That's perfectly fine with me. The Boros Guild Gate. Cabaret Courtyard lets us go get one of our basics. The Citadel Gate. It taps for a white or a mana of a color that we choose, and it's also a gate. Actual Cliff Gate. So tap for a red or whatever we choose. The Command Tower. 7 Forests. A Gond Gate. Gruul Guild Gate. Jetmir's Garden. Jungle Shrine, Manor Gate, running 6 mountains, 6 plains. We're running the bridges here specifically to interact with our all that glitters. So Rustvale Bridge, Sacred Foundry, we're running the Shocks, Selesnya Guild Gate, Stagwoods Bridge, Stomping Ground, Temple Garden, Thornglint Bridge, and that is our lands, 37 in total. Sorceries include Circuitous Route, lets us go get basics or gate cards. Cut a Deal, lets us draw a card. Well, each of our opponents draw a card, then we draw a card for each opponent who drew this way. So an easy way for us to draw 3 cards for 3 mana. Explore the Underdark, lets us go get 2 gates. And it also lets us take the initiative. I've talked about it in previous videos, but whoever's got the initiative can go through the Dungeon of Undercity and get lots of cool abilities there. Inspired Tinkering. For 5 mana, exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. We also create 3 treasure tokens, so pretty sweet. And Nature's Lord will help us go get a forest, likely one of our Shocks. And that is Mazzy Truesword Paladin. Lots we can do with this. I thought about running also the Bestow creatures. I thought those would be pretty fun here too, but they didn't make the cut this time out. Hope you all like that one. Not sure what I'm doing next. I'll decide what the next commander deck will be based off of whatever I crack open. So with that in mind, I've got some shopping to do. So good luck on all your polls this weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you get some nice weather. We're starting to get some nice weather here finally in Kelowna. It's been a very, very damp year for us. But I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to walk up to the LGS and pick up my stuff. We will see you all next time. Bye for now.